Don Sleazy, Hedgeman, do you think paying $2.50 for the Carvable Pumpkin is too much? No. No. Mate, don't make me talk about the Carvable Pumpkin again. I will go on about it. First of all, you said $2.50, but you didn't put down a currency. So what am I referring to? £2.50? $2.50? €2.50? I don't know. I wanted to make sure. USD. Right. Honestly, bud? Honestly? If it's expected... Are you the $2.50 right here? You're alright, mate. We're getting closer and closer and closer to Halloween. Regardless, look at me, regardless, with this Carvable Pumpkin, I expect it to go up in price regardless. We are getting closer and closer to Halloween. This is completely far off from its original price. I am expecting that we will be seeing some very nice progress for this over the course of this month. As we, sorry, as we get ever so closer to Spooky Month, to October, I wouldn't be surprised if we reached the $4 mark by the end of September. I would anticipate that happening. I don't know if we're going to go even further beyond that. I honestly think the main thing that's going to influence the price of this Carvable Pumpkin is if or when it gets reintroduced into the Rust store. If it does, and it sells at $6.99 again, easy money, because everybody will be buying out the cheap ones from the Steam market. But if it's not brought back, it might have an immediate impact. It might be a case of people will assume it's now become a collector's item, and with that, that would then lead to a whole bunch of people probably buying them out. Because we've only had 1 year where this was available to be bought. Now, I don't know 100% how many of these are in circulation. SCM can only track so much. But SCM seems to think that we have 2,674 in circulation. But as I pointed out, that's only from what it can see. There's probably tons of them out there in circulation that are probably in private accounts and whatnot. So, funnily enough, I'm the guy with the most of them. And I'm over here as well, yay! But we shall see, we shall see, we shall see. It has done better than when I first talked about this during the beginning of June. Cool, that's been some time, it's been 3 months. I sat here, I was on stream, and I said, this is only $1. It very likely will be selling again for $7, blah, 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 blah. It's probably going to jump back up in price when the very second this appears. And ever since then, it's gone up by quite a bit, hasn't it? From $1 to $2.72. If you listened to me way back then, you've already made a great profit. But we are still expecting that much better profit. So all we could do is wait, unfortunately. But honestly, I do still expect anticipation to set in. I do expect more people to start buying out more of the Halloween stuff. A lot of people kind of already did that, like this month, no, last month in August. A lot of speculative purchases, like for instance Skull Spikes. Right now they're selling at their all-time high in the past year, I believe, if I were to quickly check. Yeah. So the all-time high happened like towards the end of August, and then it went down. So yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if these spike up again in price. What about the likes of the Skull Fire Pit? That's been popping off quite nicely recently. So if we just go over to here. Again, we had a big drop from last time, but that's because, not last year, but the year before that, the Fire Pit, the Skull Fire Pit wasn't brought back. So it went up in price because people assumed, oh yeah, it's a rare item, it's a collector's item, surely it would never be brought back, and yeah, it got brought back. So yeah, that happened. So it's been recovering, and because there's more demand for it, because we're getting closer to Spooky Month, you know, it's been selling a whole lot more, it's been doing a whole lot better. On average, it's very close to the all-time peak. The all-time peak so far this year was July 20. But it is starting to go back up again. How far off are we from an all-time high again, maybe? Another 10 purchases and we're about there. So yeah, we are almost there. So, gentlemen, it's more a case of what do you reckon's not going to be brought back this year? Because last year we didn't have Spooky Speaker brought back, when it always usually get brought back. Certain items like the Surgeon Scrubs, the Skull Door Knocker, the Scarecrow, they don't really come back anymore, and I wouldn't expect them to come back. I'd be very surprised if I see this come back. This was introduced and brought back once, and then it wasn't since then. This was brought in once and then never brought back. I'm not sure about these two. I haven't seen these these have not been reintroduced ever since they've been introduced, I think. I'm not sure if they appeared for 2017 as well. I'm not sure, but I have never seen these in a Rust store, and I've been playing since 2017, so I can't remember that far back. So yeah, let's just see how all of this plays out, gentlemen. I honestly am thinking either Skull Fire Pit or Cursed Cauldron. One of these two is probably not going to be brought back this year. And of course, what's going to happen right after, or rather, the very second we see the Rust store rotate and we see one of these not in the Rust store, the one that wasn't brought back is probably going to shoot up in price. Because, as I said, with what we just saw with 2 years ago, people didn't see the Skull Fire Pit in the Rust store that year, and they assumed, oh, surely it's a rare collector's item, and there wasn't any new ones to flood the market and whatnot, so it rose up in price, went up to about $15 at one point. But then it was reintroduced last year, and it went all the way down in price, because it matched up to the price it sold for in the Rust store, which was $6. So, here we go. We are only about 5-6 weeks away. Let's see what happens from here on now. I am looking forward to it. I've got plenty of things that I've invested in. I've bought into many of these items, but I've already sold them. I thought they're not really going to be jumping up in price any further from here. And if everybody starts competing with each other, trying to sell them at the higher prices, they more than likely will go down in price because everybody's trying to throw things at the Steam market all at the same time. So, but in terms of skins, that's another story. See, yeah, the spooky doors and whatnot, I expect to go up in price, but not everything. Halloween, holiday-themed skins don't normally do very well. The very second it's not that holiday anymore, it's no good for the rest of the year, is it? Makes sense? So you're not going to want to wear a dead pumpkin face mask in January or March, June. It doesn't really fit, does it? But it does fit for Spooky Month, so maybe that will go up in price in October. It could very well do so. Yes, it could. But the reason why it's gone so low in price, in fact, let's just go take a real quick look at its price history. How low did it go during the year? It went down immediately after Halloween, sold around 60 cents, shot up during post-Christmas, not that much of a surprise. But then when it wasn't post-Christmas, went down. It went up again in April for some reason, and then it went down during a market dip. So it's actually held on better than what I was expecting. It's selling right now for around just over 70 cents, not too far off from 80. Could it go over $1 this year? It's not really something I'm going to care too much about because it's cheap. It's really cheap. If anything, I'm more worried about the likes of this door. So this door, I invested into it, but I put down $1 buy orders, and it's only just above $1. It's not selling greatly, is it? It looks spooky, it glows in the dark, it looks cool, but yeah, it's not really been a massive, insane sort of investment. It went up a bit for post-Christmas, and of course all skins go up during post-Christmas. Post-Christmas, yeah. So after December 26th into January, it went up in price, and then when that whole era ended, it went down, and then went up again towards the end of April, early May, and then went down during the market dip, and it started to pick back up again, but it doesn't look like it's going up. It's going down ever so slightly. It's a bit awkward. You can try and figure out patterns, you can try and make sense of everything, but it doesn't always make sense, and it doesn't always work out, so yeah. And you could also look at the likes of the first week's skins. So the vast majority of these have done pretty badly, except the hammer. We haven't seen many hammer skins this year, so I'm not too surprised that's up in price. A Thompson skin, well, of course, Thompson skins are always very reliable, up 34%. This is the only glow-in-the-dark jackhammer, I believe. We don't have many jackhammer skins either. Yep, that's the only glow-in-the-dark jackhammer. So it's special, so I guess it is ever so slightly above its Rust store price, that's fine. And this is the only glow-in-the-dark L96, and it's a penny above its Rust store price. But then again, you know, you've got to take a look and see, well, hang on a minute, how many of them on the market? So the L96, how many are there? 83, so that's just a little bit less than the average I would expect. On average, I would expect every Rust skin to have around at least 100 quantity on the market. That's got 83, so it's ever so slightly below average. But even then, the demand, it's strong, but it's only going up to about 260. So it looks like it's eternally going to be staying around its Rust store price. I mean, if someone wants to buy them out, they can do so. So, yeah. Holiday theme skins, just never really a good idea to invest into. Items are fine. Items are fine because they are definitely always used quite a lot for their holiday every single year. If they can't really go too low of a price because they always usually shoot back up in price if the price in the Rust store is above that price. Makes sense. So like as I was saying with the pumpkin, for example. Oh, I've gone the wrong way. Oops. Well, I mean, like for instance, we can look here. See this snowman helmet. Snowman helmet is kind of in the same position as the Carvable Pumpkin. This sold for $5 in the Rust store. Right now, it's only selling for $2.50. What happens when it gets to Christmas time and it sells for $5 again? Well, all the ones on the market are going to get bought out because they're cheap. And then suddenly, you know, it's exactly the same thing as the pumpkin. Not too many people are aware of the snowman helmet as much, so, you know, that's another thing to keep an eye out for. This you know, from what I see here, it applies to Halloween, Christmas, Easter. They're the main holiday events that we have every single year. So keep an eye out for things. You know, you can start picking up patterns, figuring out how things are likely going to behave, and you can make moves, you can make an impact, you can make a great profit. So, yeah. So, holiday themed skins, but holiday themed items, yes. So, what are you going to start investing in, huh? We'll leave it at that then. So, we are about six weeks away until the first week of the Halloween skins for 2022, and then we're quite a bit away until Christmas time. But the very second it's December 1st, all Christmas themed skins and items and winter themed skins and items, they start to pick up in price. Halloween skins don't really jump up in price during October, but I do know for a fact Christmas and winter themed skins do start jumping up. They start trending upward the very second December hits. I mean, I have a whole video talking about that, the long-term investing video, so go give that a watch if you're curious. So for now, we keep an eye on what we see here.